commentator Gina Loudon, Republican strategist Mark Serrano, and Democratic strategist Harlan Hill. Welcome to you all. So, Gina, the middle class is being hit hard. What does the next president have to do?
Well, everything that Hillary's saying she's not going to do, or everything other than what Hillary's saying she is going to do. Remember, this is the person who has committed to destroy good, well-paying jobs, the coal industry, while she's pushing a $15 an hour minimum wage that will invariably destroy jobs. And she knows this. And then you have things like her pushing for free education and things like that, and these STEM jobs, this science, technology, education, and math jobs, which sounds so good on its face until they grant 200,000 H-1B visas to foreign workers to come and keep even those kinds of paying jobs down. Deirdre, what it really comes down to is that this administration and Hillary's administration will be all about turning workers over to the public sector because they don't like private sector jobs.
So, Mark, let me bring you in on this. We had an investor, Mark Faber, gloom, boom, and doom report saying Americans are hurting. This is why Trump is doing well, and this is why Sanders is doing well. So whatever you think of the politics, those are the candidates talking the most about jobs. Is this the most important issue for the election?
Oh, no doubt. And Deirdre, the exit polls show that repeatedly. Jobs in the economy outpace all their interests for sure. But look, these stats you talk about are the festering wounds of Obama economic policies for the past 7 years. If you take a look at the numbers, additional numbers, you know, between 2007 and 2009, 1/6 of all workers were laid off. Today, still, of those people, 14 million people are still looking for work or have settled for part-time jobs, which is why our labor participation rate is so bad.
Yeah, lowest
Those
since
are the
late
wounds.
70s.
This is called economic scarring that these figures show.
All right, Harlan, I'm coming to you. We just need to take a very quick break. We want to show you a Trump rally set to start in minutes in Montana. An increased police presence is expected after riots that occurred earlier in the week, so we will keep an eye on all of it for you. Since the late 60s, the government has been subsidizing housing. One byproduct of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac is that there are more mortgage lenders. Critics say the government pushes people to buy homes even if they can't afford them. After the credit crisis of 2008, taxpayers picked up the check for those mistakes. Now, only a few years later, Wells Fargo offering mortgages with only 3% down. It is a decision that some say could spark the next housing crisis. Back with me now, my power panel, Gina, Mark, Harlan. So, Harlan, what do you make of this, first and foremost? And, of course, the overarching image is President Obama getting ready to leave the White House. He's going to be renting a mansion for 2 years. His daughter's finishing high school. But the idea, some people say, hey, the president's renting, and yet the government's pushing tons of people who can't afford housing to buy.
He may have a little bit of inside information. I really wonder at this point if we're at the bottom or the top of the market. I'm talking to friends, some of them buying very, very nice houses, 100% financed, no joke. And this is the same this is the same sort of speculative, dangerous behavior that I think got us into trouble 10 years ago.
So, Gina, we're looking at video right now of the house that the Obamas will be renting for the next 2 years till their daughter finishes high school. But this idea that people, citizens, are sometimes encouraged to overextend themselves and then taxpayers pick up the check. Are you worried that we have another housing? I mean, Harlan just said he has friends that don't have to put any money down. What do you think of this?
Well, I guess I think that home ownership in general sense is a good thing because generally speaking, when people have families and they have a mortgage and responsibilities, they tend to become more conservative and more fiscally responsible. I like that idea. There are dangers, though, and we have to watch those. But I find it particularly interesting that a president who supposedly makes only $200,000 a year is getting ready to rent a house that has to cost upward of $30,000 a year, I guess, unless maybe they're using the Clinton model where, one of them just becomes a Secretary of State and then they can go make expensive speeches all over the world.
Well, I was assuming, it's more than 10,000 square feet. I'm assuming that they're getting a break, but I don't know.
The president makes $450,000 a year, so.
No, she said 100.
Okay.
Well, this is troubling, Deirdre.
But even so, how? Yeah.
This is troubling. You know, the standard should be higher so that people who enter the marketplace for the first time have the confidence themselves that they know that they can afford what they're being put into. This is what happened during the Clinton administration when they opened the floodgates for people to have home ownership, as if that is the ultimate measure of the American dream, and the government has to help the people achieve the American dream. That's not how it works. You save,
not a guaranteed
you earn,
right.
you get a good credit score, and that's the way it should stay.
Mark, Gina,
the government should
Harlan,
get out of the way.
Thank you. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for